South Korea's president says he wants to set up a new ministry to help boost a record low birth rate, calling it a national emergency. It's already the lowest in the world and plunged another 8% last year, despite state spending on family-friendly policies. Experts predict if it doesn't improve, South Korea's population will halve by the end of the century. Many Korean women complain they're forced to bear the burdens of childcare, left with having to choose between a career or family. Let's speak to Youngmin Kim. She is editorial director of Korea Pro, a US information service based in Seoul. What about yourself? Do you have kids or plans to have any?
I don't have plans for it, but I'm not particularly against it. When I speak to most of my friends in the same age, early 30s, they also feel the same. Some are married and they want to have kids. For me, or someone like me, people consider having children something of a thing of a faraway future when their career is more settled or they have better plans for housings and also other things to consider. Like for myself, I wouldn't want to really raise my child in a super competitive South Korean environment unless the society changes.
I understand where you're coming from. Tell us more about some of the more interesting state incentives to boost the birth rate.
There have been a lot of different types of government incentives, but I would say that many of them are targeting wrong things. A lot of the state incentives focused on maybe providing better paternity leave, maternity leave for people who are working these days. It's very different from ages ago when many women used to not work after being married. It's usually both husband and wife, they work. And so the government incentive mostly was on trying to tackle that, but it also has to really handle the issue of low marriage rate as well in early 30s and late 20s these days. And people are really not looking at marriage and childbirth as something of a thing that they would do in their late 20s. So the society changed a lot. But the government incentives did not really tackle that part of the changing social norms when it comes to parenthood itself and marriage. So I think that's why, despite many of the state incentives, it's not really working. But there have been other incentives, such as a little bit of an increased support for things like egg freezing for women to retain the possibility of having children even later in life.
If current trends continue, it's predicted South Korea's population could halve by 2100. What happens to the country then?
A lot of problems that we are expecting. I'm just going to mention two things. One is military. South Korea is still technically at war with North Korea, and we are on conscription basis. And if the demographic cliff hits, it will be very difficult to maintain the current level of number of forces in South Korea serving service members. Secondly, there would be a big pension issue, and the younger generation will basically be responsible to pay more for the pension. And also it's not only the low birth rate, also the aging society. So there would be a lower ratio of people who can participate in economic activities in the future, and they will have increased responsibility to take care of the elderlies.
Okay, plotting a future with or without children. Youngmin Kim, great talking to you.